Greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well today. Today I have an upload that has some brand new to the internet video clips of possible Dogman and Bigfoot existence. I also am going to share a mysterious disappearance that has piqued my interest almost as much as the Tom Mezek case and has a possible relation or connection to Dogman / Bigfoot, or even something a little more strange, like a portal. Just like Tom Mezek. That one is very strange as well, but this is much different. Anyway, before we get into that, a couple links. As you know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, and my merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. The links to Patreon and PayPal are in the description below. My merch is displayed directly under this video. Also, Dogman Frightening Encounters, Volume 1 through 3, the audiobook version. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeff Nadolny. Those audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, the links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to help support this channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe. It's absolutely free. Click the like button and please leave a comment. It really does help, and guys, it definitely matters. And now, everyone, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's get on with today's upload, shall we? Real quick before we get into today's upload, I've said this numerous times. I don't watch other channels that are cryptid related. I usually, if I'm going to work and read and research, I'll have some Joe Rogan playing in the background, or some true crime files or whatever. But tonight I was listening to Joe Rogan, and he had one of my favorite guests, Forrest Gallant. Now, Forrest is a zoologist from South Africa, a very brilliant man. And he, about 2.5 years ago, blew my mind, because this is a man of science, and started talking about cryptids. And what he said was about the Chupacabra. Now, as all of you know or may know, there are two variations of the Chupacabra. I don't know for a fact, but there's two variations in the stories. One coming from South and Central America, which is more of a lizard-like or reptile-like cryptid. Very strange, long tail, spikes going down its spine. And the other is a canine-like creature in North America with a huge maw. Well, Forrest, back 2 years ago, had made the statement to Joe. He said, the Chupacabra may possibly be a thylacine. And I absolutely love this story. I could probably share it 1,000,000 times and never get sick of hearing it or talking about it. But there was a breeding pair of thylacine back in the early 1900s, and they were on their way to the Brooklyn Zoo. Now, or Bronx Zoo, excuse me. Brooklyn Zoo, I'm thinking of ODB. Wow. Anyway, this boat crashed off of the coast of North Carolina. Now, Forrest's theory states that maybe these two breeding pair of thylacine survived the crash, swam to shore, and through like a geographical evolution or change. And I know that's like, that word evolution is just a real argument starter. But um, with the climate being much different than where the creature originates from, like Papua New Guinea, um, New Zealand, Australia, Tasmania, um, that it changed, its appearance changed, and its maw is huge. Like it opens to like I'd say almost 180 degrees, and it's just this long kind of snout, and it's just a sinister looking creature. But absolutely beautiful too. And he said through the change of geographic and what would it be? Weather, ecological change, climate change, and stuff like that. That possibly it adapted to the location, and that's what people are seeing as the North American Chupacabra. Fascinating, and interview with Forrest. And then last night they started to talk about the Flores man, or like the Hobbit creature, Bigfoot, and a couple other things. Just I really thought it was funny because this is a man of science, exact answers and stuff like that, and here he is talking about cryptids. So anyway, enough of the chitter chatter. Sorry about that. I just wanted to share it. Let's get into a very interesting video clip. So this first video clip we're going to see, I've reached out to this gentleman. His name's Ken. He lives in Vermont. He probably 45 minutes from me. And he was on this road, and it was called like Bear something road. I forget the exact name of the road. But he had wanted to go down this road and see if he could see any bears down the road. Well, instead, he saw what he believed to be a Sasquatch. And he sent his drone up in the air, and this is the video he captured. Now, I have reached out to him. Actually, I think he's closer than 45 minutes. I think I'd just have to go up Route 4 into Vermont, probably a 30-minute ride. Yeah, about that. And hopefully, I'm really hoping that he and I can connect, because I think it'd be an interesting interview to have. He's really not into cryptids. He's a woodworker. So here's that video clip, guys.
What the world? What is that? Oh, that's incredible. What? No way. Are you serious? What? What is that? Oh, man. What the world?
Just an amazing catch. You can see as that creature is walking, its strides are huge. It is walking the way that we hear how Sasquatch walk, with the arm movement. Just really captivating footage from a drone. And if I were to say anything was real, I'd have to say this would be possibly 100%. But I am not saying 100% this is real. I'm just saying, to me, it looks real. And just the way the guy is and who he is and what he's about really tells me that I think it's real. But you know what? Like I always say, I'm leaving it up to you guys. So now let's get into the very mysterious disappearance of Christopher Tompkins. Now, I've talked about this a couple different times. There's a reason why I'm sharing it today and in the month of January, because we are coming up on the 21st year that he disappeared. He disappeared on January 25th, 2002. And, it's so much around this disappearance resembles Tom Messick, but it's still very different. And it's a case of its own. And a lot of speculation on what had happened. So let's get into it. The disappearance of Christopher Tompkins definitely takes some strange twists and turns. Many believe there is a supernatural element to this or an otherworldly component. This case is quite interesting. January 25th, 2002, Christopher Tompkins, a 20-year-old young man living with his mother. He was working at a local surveying company. His mom knew the owner of the company as she babysat his children. Christopher arrived at work at 8 a.m., left his car at the office, and rode in with a coworker to their job site that day in Ellerslie, Georgia. They were working on County Line Road in Ellerslie, part of Harris County, Georgia. The four men were working in a line formation, with Christopher being at the end of that line. Each surveyor was roughly 50 feet away from the next in line. The men took a lunch break and then got back to work. One of the coworkers was having a conversation with Chris. At one point, he looked away from Chris to complete a task, and about a minute later said something else. When he got no response, he lifted his head up and looked in the direction where Chris was and didn't see him. Initially, he thought maybe he had stepped into the trees to use the restroom. He called him a few more times and got no response. He let the other workers know, and together they walked down to where Christopher had been working. With still no answer, they discovered Christopher's work boots hanging from the top of a barbed wire fence, and all of his work tools on the ground, but no Christopher. After not being able to find him, they called 911 to report him missing. The police advised that they couldn't investigate until after a 24-hour period of time had passed. Christopher's mother was notified that Christopher was missing at around 4:15 p.m. She questioned why it took so long for someone to let her know what was going on. The following day, the 26th, after the 24 hours had passed, the police conducted an area search near where his boot was. They found a blue piece of fabric that matched the material of Christopher's pants. They also found 12 cents on the ground right underneath, as it had fallen from his pockets. They would find nothing else. The co-workers were questioned, although the police publicly stated they believe Christopher just walked off. One co-worker, however, obtained an attorney a week after, although no one is sure why. Christopher's mother believes the co-workers know more than they are saying, and she also believes that Christopher is no longer alive and likely met with foul play. 5 months after his disappearance, a local farmer was walking his property, and finds a lone boot in swampland at the edge of his property. This boot would later be identified as Christopher Tompkins, and it was determined to be less than 1 mile from the spot where Chris had disappeared from. There are many theories, and here are some. Christopher walked off on his own. If this is the case, how did he disappear so fast, and why take his boots off? Christopher's co-workers did something to him, or they know something, and they are covering it up. A wild animal. Now, if this happened, wouldn't the workers have heard something? Bigfoot or Dogman, these creatures are fast, quiet, and would be able to carry a grown man away quickly. But again, the workers would have heard something. A portal. Did Christopher fall into a time portal or into another dimension? This theory may sound straight out of a science fiction movie, but it would explain the sudden disappearance. Aliens and alien abduction would explain how he was flipped upside down, losing his boot on the fence going upward, and having his change fall out of his pocket. So, what do you think happened to Christopher? If you have any information on the Christopher Tompkins case, please call Harris County Sheriff's Department at 706-628-4211. At the time of Christopher's disappearance, he was 20 years old. He was between 5'7" and 5'9", roughly weighing 130 pounds. He was wearing a black shirt and blue and gray plaid jacket with a hood, navy blue Dickie work pants, a tan-colored FUBU work boots, black skull cap, and black watch. His hair was braided. He may have had a mustache, goatee, or beard. On his right arm, he had a tattoo of an ice cream cone with his nickname Chris written in vertical letters. Inside of the design, the ice cream section of the tattoo, is the head of a joker wearing a hat. Now, when I had mentioned in that article, roughly a mile from where he disappeared, it was actually about 900 yards from where he had disappeared was his other boot. Now, I have thought about this, and of course I've looked into the case. I've actually called and talked to a few different people from the area, and I've covered this case. I've probably shared this case maybe 3 times, this probably being the 4th in the 4 years of the channel's existence, which we're coming up on 5 this year. Also, another quick thing. GBI and volunteer firefighter on the 26th of May, 2009, woods along 185 near Harris and Trope County line. Near the Pine Mountain extension, some remains were found. Skull, leg bone, pelvic bone, all looked as if it had been chewed on, as if the marrow had been removed. Special Agent Rodney Wall of the GBI. Those remains were not Christopher's, but it was very strange how those bone fragments were found and how they looked. They actually looked like they had been crushed, almost like something with large bite force crushed the bone and ate the marrow outside or inside of that bone. I have sat and thought about the case, and you know, all we can do on these cases is really speculate what possibly could have happened. And yes, sure, the other employees may have had something to do with it. I don't think so. The police don't either. Nor does the GBI, Georgia Bureau of Investigation. I think the person, the coworker that hired the attorney, hired it because I believe he was afraid of something, being the government at a federal level and state level. Why not? Why else hire a lawyer if you're not involved? They did take lie detector tests, even though that's not, 100% the truth. But it does really brings you a long way to make you look like you're telling the truth if you pass. I really honestly feel that something grabbed him, something very quickly, possibly ran up and snapped his neck and just gone out into the woods. No trace. As it was running, it dropped one of Christopher's boots and just continued to ran towards that farm. Possibly a Dogman, possibly a Bigfoot. Not because I talk about Dogman a lot on the channel and give or take Bigfoot. I think there's a strong possibility that this was done by a Dogman, just based on the sightings of Dogmen in that area and the bones being crushed like that. Not even though they were not his, but still they were human bone. So, or quite possibly he may have walked into a portal. And then, some people may be like, well, why didn't the search party walk into that same portal? Why didn't the other workers? If it's invisible or, naked to the eye and you're walking like he did, it'd be kind of hard to see and you'd just disappear yourself. So I'm not really sure. The alien thing does make a little sense, but I believe there'd be noise too, with the reactors on the space shuttles or whatever they're called, UFOs, tractor beams to pull him up. Excuse me. It would explain the change and it would explain the boot, but so wouldn't a cryptid if a Dogman just ran up behind him and snapped his neck and ran over his shoulder. So, I don't know. Anyway, very interesting case. One that I will stay on every year, like I do with Tom Messick. I'll do an upload about Christopher Tompkins so he's not forgotten. All right, let's get into tonight's second video clip. This next video clip is a possible Bigfoot, or what the trail cam owner feels was a Bigfoot destroying his trail cam after it was found. Let's get into it. So you can hear whatever this is rattling around with the camera. Eventually, you can kind of see its arm, and you do see a long or long strands of hair off of its arm, which is very compelling. Very interesting video. Once again, I'm leaving it up to you guys for you guys to decide what you think it is. Either way, it's cool because it just really, we're talking a 2-minute video of something destroying a trail cam. I'm not really sure. It's pretty convincing, I guess, maybe. Anyway, the final video footage of the day is some hikers observe a Sasquatch off in the distance. And no, this won't be the final. There'll be one more, actually. Some hikers observe a Sasquatch in the distance, and they get some very interesting video footage of this creature. Check it out. Once again, another very interesting video clip. Compelling, but I don't know how I feel on this. It does really appear to be non-human, but humanoid. Now, today's final video clip is either a Bigfoot or a Dogman stalking this person that's in the woods, and they actually catch some footage of it moving around. Let's check it out.
Are you ready for one?
Yeah. Jeez.
They need to be a little bit lighter. Actually wiped out.
And that was today's final video clip of the day. Very interesting. If I were to say, out of the 4 video clips that I believe to be 100%, I would have to say the one out of Vermont. That's just my own opinion. I'm not going to proclaim that it is 100% real because I don't know. I can say without a shadow of a doubt that it's very strange, and it does resemble the walking pattern of a Bigfoot. So, and finally, before we end it, check out the photo that is in front of you now as a screensaver or thumbnail, excuse me. You can see a face on whatever that is in the woods. To me, it looks like a Dogman. I don't know if it is or not, if it's just shadow on whatever it is facing us right now, but I don't know. It's pretty captivating. What do you guys think? Now, with that, thank you all so much for coming on and listening. It truly means the world to me. Please, everyone, stay safe, and may the Great Spirit watch out for all of us, and may He guide us down that path that we call life.